Hi, I'm Colin.
And I'm Bert.
This is Dabbing with Washington Artists. The idea is simple 6 questions.
And 6 dabs.
As we get to know the artists behind the art that makes Washington, Washington.
So sit back and light those torches.
Because this is Dabbing with Washington Artists.
What's up, Washington? My name is Terrance Ford. I'm from St. Augustine, Florida. I'm so happy to be in Washington to give y'all some fly-ass artwork. Hit me up on social media at Facebook, Terrance Allen Ford. My website is Creative Works. On Instagram, you can hit me up. My handle is Reggae Cowboy, RAGGAECOWBOY. Because I got the dreads and I'm a country boy. Yeehaw.
For today's series of dabs, we will begin our smoke session with a gelato, a papaya punch, and a wedding cake, and we will round out our session with the platinum Cinex, a slurricane, and a meathead.
Thank you for joining us on Dabbing with Washington Artists. Today we are joined by Terrance Ford. Thank you for joining us, man.
Thank you. I'm excited. Let's go.
All right. So for our first dab of the day, we have gelato, which is a really pretty indica.
Gelato is an indica-dominant hybrid known for its unique terpene profile of sweet lavender and fruitiness, and its tendencies to leave the smoker calm and couch-locked. We picked up a gram of this sugar wax at a shop on Evergreen Way in Everett.
Hell yeah. Perfect, man. So for our first question, one thing we like to ask everybody is, what role does cannabis play in your creative process?
Well, I wouldn't be able to wake up in the morning probably without it because I have Crohn's disease. And it's a chronic illness. They haven't found a cure for it, and you can't take pain medicine or anything like that for the inflammation. So I probably wouldn't be able to concentrate. I wouldn't be able to get up and pick up a paintbrush at all. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If I didn't have the beautiful plant given by Mother Earth, cannabis.
Absolutely. Do you have a preference towards like indicas or sativas or even like certain terpene profiles or anything?
Well, when I first started, because Florida's kind of late on the recreational thing, but when we started learning about strands and I was knowing the difference between indica and sativa and the different things that happen, and the sativas were like really popular because everybody wanted to fill up instead of going to sleep, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And so, but when I started going to the care and wellness doctor, I realized I couldn't smoke so much flowers of sativa because it just fires off my nerve system, in which I'm already dealing with nerve pain and shit. So I try to do like hybrid indica, something that's gonna keep me munching and sleeping. But look, I still toke on my, dose.
I imagine edibles probably help quite a bit too.
Yeah. Anything long term like edibles, patches, tinctures, shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's awesome.
yeah, but I like it all, baby.
There you go. Full
I have no
spectrum.
preference.
Let me take the opportunity then to introduce the next dab. We've got a papaya punch.
Papaya Punch is a well-balanced indica-dominant hybrid that is known for its aroma of earthy cheese and fruit and its smooth body high. We scored a gram of this wax at a shop on 112th in Linwood.
I like it.
Like that one?
Look, my art inspiration is Bob Ross. Look at Bob Ross on his shirt.
Oh, I love
That's how I learned how to paint.
We actually saw something on your thing about it. You have a Bob Ross shirt. You have to wear it tomorrow.
My God.
All right, I'll do that. All right. So you recently moved to Washington from Florida, as we discussed. How has the Washington art scene been treating you? And what are some of the biggest differences you've noticed so far?
All right, one thing I feel coming over here, I felt very humbled with what I consider like what kind of level of artist that I think that I am, because I always knew that I can paint because I watched Bob Ross when I was 4 after Sesame Street and Reading Rainbow and shit. My mom was a custodian, and I always had access to the teachers' utility cabinets with all the crayons and markers and shit in it. So that's how I got art supplies, because to tell you the truth, being a young, poor, single parent, Black mother, my mom did not have extra money to be spending on something that most parents think that it's just a child scribbling, scrabbling, and throwing shit away. Like, we don't have money for things like that. So we ain't buying paint, paper, and shit like that. And so even though I have that talent, that was not nurtured at that age. It was not considered anything. Even me as a young child, I'm always conceptualizing that you always think of an artist as being a broke, poor artist. I always knew that I was smart and I was a scholarly student, so I wasn't even focusing on that gift at all. So it's just something that I knew that I could do. I already, when I was about 4 years old, I would watch that for 3 months, and I already knew the formula to do a landscape. Like, I already knew horizon, sun. It gets larger and larger as you get closer and closer to the bottom. I already knew perspective and stuff like that as a child without even taking art classes, but I didn't know what it was. But I knew what he was talking about, you know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And so then I go to school and I'm doing great in school. I'm making straight A's. I'm in all these clubs. I'm, the child who can sing, and there's no musician in the choir. Nobody's teaching the choir. There's no piano teacher. I'm the child who can paint, and there's no resources to teach kids about art. I'm the child who can teach himself how to do things, and people are always, the teacher's like, okay, we need a student to do this. We need a student to do this. Terrance can do it. They just shoot you. So that's how I started. Just like, people were like, well, what do you want to do when you grow up? I don't know. But like, I just was good at every little thing I tried, I would do well, or I could master it, for the most part. I think that my skill is that I have a quick mastery of things. Like, I'll look on YouTube, if I don't know how to do something, I can know how to do it. I twisted my dress myself from a ball head, you know what I'm saying? I learned how to paint, I did the murals and stuff like that. 3-foot scaffolding. I didn't know anything about exterior paint, cracking. I just got up there and do it because somebody said, okay, we need it done. Boom. And so I go to school, I go to undergrad, because when I was graduating, they were pushing for students my age to graduate and get a 4-year degree, and that's the only way you're gonna make it. They were not talking about going to get a license so that you could do construction or own your own business. They were saying that we need to go to an undergraduate school. I'm 32 years old, just turned 32 February 8th, and all that does is put you in debt.
Oh, for sure.
As soon as you graduate. And like, but now they're telling kids that you could go on YouTube, you could do all this shit from home, just like this podcast, like how you could be your own entrepreneur right now. That wasn't a thing. It's like, we were just coming out of dial-up to high-speed internet. You know what I'm saying? It was like, the whole perspective was different. You're right. And so art was not a thing to me. It was, I ended up being an interpreter for deaf and hard and hearing students in high school, middle school, and in elementary schools. And I was always good at sign language because St. Augustine, the School of the Deaf and Blind, is there, which is a big staple for just deaf people all over the world. And then there's the college in Washington, D.C., Gallaudet University. So all the kids from all over the U.S. America, they come to St. Augustine, and they stay there from the ages from elementary all the way to 25. So it's like you know what I'm saying? It's like a community there at large. So we was able to take ASL as a foreign language. And I ended up doing that, interpreting. And then my Crohn's disease, I've never been sick, I've never broken a bone, I've never had a flu shot, none of that shit. And then I get chronically sick out of nowhere, to where I ain't finishing school, I am depressed, I can't work, I lost 100 pounds. Like, my mom or everybody in my community think I'm gonna die. They won't give me any Medicaid or Social Security. I can't work, so I can't get insurance. And so it really broke my spirit in that moment because I went from being able to do anything to just out of nowhere just being so sick I couldn't do anything. And I just felt like I was just so self-disciplined for so long in my life, and I just felt like it was all in vain. I just really just felt for a second in that moment in my life. And so I just was like looking on YouTube and reading on how to just like do therapy on myself, because like there's no cure right now for Crohn's disease. So I was just trying to do it spiritually, get myself together and journaling. And
Was this before you started smoking? Like, is this like did finding
probably
cannabis
like
kind of start helping?
yeah,
That's great. That's excellent.
that kind of was the gateway to the whole thing. And so I'm in remission now. I'm doing better. I'm
That's
gaining
great.
a little weight, and I started painting because in order to heal depression, you're supposed to go back to your authentic self, who you were when you were a child. When I was a child, I used to paint. And the past 3 years, I started painting, and then I've just done so many things in these past 3 years with something I didn't even consider to give it. I had all this time, and I'm going to school, struggling, trying to do something that's gonna make me money. And if I would have just been painting all this time, you know what I'm saying? And now I'm just in a place where I'm like good, you know. I'm being like, I have my supplemental insurance and stuff now. I have my projects going. I feel like
That's awesome.
redemption for myself.
And your art's awesome, man. I love your.
And the thing is,
work,
like,
man.
I learned from
It's
Bob
good
Ross
stuff.
when I was 4. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I
for real,
just
man.
feel like so proud of myself and my community. I'm like doing things to making money for my community. And I feel very proud to be doing what I'm doing right now. And my mom's happy. And so I'm good. Like, I'm over here. I'm 32. I got shit going on. I'm smoking weed, and I'm an artist, and I'm retired. I'm a
Welcome to
retired
Washington.
artist. Yes, I'm so happy. I don't care if it rains every fucking day.
All right.
Okay.
Ready for dab number 3?
Let's go.
All right. So for dab number 3, we have a wedding cake.
Wedding cake is an indica dominant hybrid known for its distinct taste of sweet cake and fruit, and its tendencies to leave the smoker social and relaxed. We picked up a gram of this live rosin at a dispensary on 99th Avenue in Bothell.
That's good.
Yeah, that one's really tasty.
I can't wait till my homeboy Casey sees this. He's gonna be tripping out.
All right, so a lot of your pieces, especially the more abstract works, will display unique paint texture patterns. What role do you see texture playing in the presentations of your pieces?
Okay. Like, I do my own, since I never went to school for anything, I do my own study. And I'm a very thorough thinker. And to me, when I describe art and I see abstract, I call it my energy pieces, because to me, everything is energy. That's why it's going to be art frequencies, because it's a vibration, a sound frequency is energy.
All right.
But that's why it's going to be even more smart, because it'll be art freaks, because if you're an art freak, you might be a freaky freak, or it might you just feel like a freak. I don't know. It's still art frequencies, though. And so, okay, so energy, for instance, okay, alchemy is manipulating energy, right? So if I have a thought in my head, it is a thought frequency, and then I write it on a piece of paper. So I just turned energy from an invisible thing into something, materialized it. So that's a transfer of energy. Boom, that's alchemy, that's magic, abracadabra. And so if I'm painting, okay, I have a creative idea in my head. And so then I put it on paint. Okay, and so then I put on music. The music is a sound of vibration, and my brush stroke, the song might make me start feeling like a rock and roll. So then I'm painting rock and roll strokes here.
Okay.
And so when
I
you
can see
look at
that.
that piece of the artwork, you wonder why it looks that way. It's because that's the energy of it right there. But then this music might slow down, and then I might start stroking like this because I'm feeling like this because I'm listening to the music, I'm vibing off the music. So that's the energy, the vibration coming through me, coming through my hand onto the artwork.
Do you have some go-to music that you go for
What I like.
when you're doing this?
I'm an artist, so I love all music, a plethora.
There you go.
I'm eclectic.
Whatever you're feeling it.
Yes, but I prefer gospel music. I prefer jazz music. I prefer neo soul music, like poetic. I'm a poetic person.
Okay.
And so I write songs and books and rhymes and shit like that. And so the energy on it, okay, so texture, right? So vibration is a feeling, and then energy is through touch as well. So when I see something, I see the color red. The color red emits an energy. When you see the color red, you think of shame, or you think of danger, or you think of a warning, or you think of blushing. All these are passion. All these are energies of the color red. But it's also you touch. So you touch and you feel smooth, and it's a different energy than when it's feeling rough or when it's feeling sharp. So as far as textures go, like, it also adds dimension to your artwork. And so like if I'm painting a landscape or if I'm painting water and I actually add dimension to the waves, it's gonna actually look like there's bubble foam coming off of a flat, so it gives it a 3D dimension to a flat surface.
That's cool.
So that's texture it tells more of a story. It's like what you would get from, you're looking at it from a whole nother dimension. So you got a whole a whole nother perspective of one piece of a large piece. So yeah.
And this is the Platinum Cinex, which I'm still not sure if I'm pronouncing that properly, but but it's got a nice flavor profile.
Platinum Cinex is a sativa-dominant hybrid known for its cerebral effects and tendencies to leave the smoker social and chatty. We picked up a gram of this batter at a shop in Capitol Hill.
Look, this is the best thing I've ever done in my 32 years, I think.
All right, is ready to go on number 4 here?
Hello.
All right. Many of the subjects in your work feel incredibly personal to you, or are commissioned portraits of people's loved ones. What is it in a subject or model that speaks to you on an artistic level, and how do you capture that in a piece?
I didn't realize until like maybe 8 months ago that I am a conceptual artist, right? Conceptual art is when the ideas and the concept of whatever the subject matter comes before
The subject.
the artwork.
Okay.
It's just a concept, period. There's no artwork. It's like, it's all based on the concept. It's like, before I did this project, this Black Lives Matter project, I had 6 pages of literature. There was no images. So you fulfill the concept, understanding of the concept. There's no images in your head. Then the concept comes, right? So for instance, my concept for that project was I was going through depression and stuff and feeling a disconnect from people and feeling unloved, and then I had to realize I have to love myself in order to heal myself, right? Who's most important to myself? So then I came up with community. It's my community. Home is where the heart is. How many times we hear that, but how many of us know what it means?
Totally.
Where is your heart? Inside of you. What is your home? Your mind is your home. Your body is your home. Your community is your home. Your heart is inside. All of those things. So if my heart is inside of me, then inside of my home, then I gotta love my motherfucking self. Because home is where the heart is.
Absolutely.
My home and my heart is here. But then your home and your heart is at home with your parents, so you gotta love them. Or with your spouse, you gotta love them. And your home and your heart is in your community. So you have to love your home and your heart and your community. And your home, the world is our home. So you're supposed to love the motherfucking world too.
Absolutely.
So that's the concept, but you see how it became artwork, how that become a piece of art just from the concept though.
For sure.
But instead of a lot of people, they want images or they want a sound or something, but they don't have the concept. They can't describe what it is. And so I realized that I naturally always, like I literally will journal down the colors I'm using, how I'm feeling in the moment, the day, the time. I'll write down, like if I'm doing lotus flowers, I'll write down lotus flowers, like Buddhism, where lotus flowers come from, all of these things. And then when I'm done with the artwork, I'll give those pages to a person. And then they have like 3 pages of meaningful things. Like most people, they'll ask you, well, what is it when you see it? And then you can tell them, but look, I literally wrote down every single moment of every idea of it in my head from the moment I conceptualized it. And so it's like so much more impact.
That's really cool.
Yes, it's like you journal it down as you literally think of it. It's like, okay, this is my friend that like these things. When I ask somebody, I ask them for their 3 favorite colors. I look through their Facebook. And I already kind of have a sense of them. I'm a very discerning person. Like I meet people, and I'm really good at like naturally knowing intuitive person, like a empathic person. You know what I'm saying? I can feel people. Like that's what makes a good artist. That's what makes you be able to sing a song to a person and they cry, or you pray for someone and you don't know them, or you have a conversation with them and they believe every word that is coming out of your mouth, but y'all just met. But because it's a feeling. Because you can look someone in the eyes. The eyes is the window to the soul. What Tupac say? Real eyes, real lies, real lies.
Did you catch that? Did you catch that?
Hey.
Are you ready for number 5 here?
Yeah.
All right. So for number 5, we have Slurricane.
Slurricane is an indica dominant strain known for its creeper effect, its sweet taste of sugary berries and grapes, and tendencies to leave the smoker sedated and calm. We picked up a gram of these sugar diamonds at a dispensary in Bothell.
Look, I want to sing for the people before I go in case anybody need a singer. Can I do that?
Feel free to sing, man. I'm doing my damn sing if you want.
Oh, right now? Okay, I said I was going to have something prepared. I'm stuck on shit. I'm going to put myself on the spot.
That's all right, man. You don't have to do that. That's okay.
No, I can do it. I think I can do it. I'm going to sing Hallelujah by, what's his name? What's the name? I can't think of it, but I'm going to sing it. Everybody's going to know the song I'm singing. I heard there was a secret chord. Then David played and it pleased the Lord. When you don't really care for music, do ya? And it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall of the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I'm so stoned, I barely call it up. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I'm high as fuck.
Awesome, man. That was great. All right. So a lot of your paintings have an abstract realism feel to and resemble photos taken with filters.
Mm-hmm.
Has technology inspired or influenced your work, and do you see a role for technological distortions in
Look,
other abstract and other mediums?
Well, I also took graphic design. Like when I was in high school, I took digital design, and like one of the first things I thought I wanted to do was like make Pixar movies and stuff, because when I was growing up, Toy Story and like shit like that was just, those Pixar movies was just coming out, and so that's like, well, and I want to do video games and shit, because like that's when games like Zelda and stuff like that was just becoming really popular. And so I always took graphic design, and I always was in yearbook and photo club and stuff like that. So I always was already editing and before like there was Instagram and stuff like that. I I learned how to use Adobe Photoshop when like people were really learning how to edit stuff, not using filters, you know what I'm saying? And so I kind of learned how to do that through high school, and I thought I wanted to do so many different things, so it just like changed. They try to force you to know what you want to major in so quickly.
Yeah.
Like by the time you're in high school, they want you to declare a major. Then when you're a freshman, if you don't declare a major by the middle of your sophomore year, you're going to be behind, and so then you're going to be behind in school. So it's like for somebody like me who grew up behind a potato chip factory, we don't have shit around us. Mm-hmm. And then I'm in a university, Florida, with all these different options of shit, and I've never even had time to try anything out in my life ever. You know what I'm saying? So now I have to like make a decision on what I want to do. I don't know. So I'm like just doing whatever. And so I'm still because in my mind, I know I'm supposed to have an organized plan, but I feel like I don't know what I'm doing, and I feel like I'm wasting time. I feel like I'm wasting my parents' money. This is just a stress as a child that I should not be having.
Right.
But I am. And then I probably stressed myself out and took Crohn's disease because that's what the fuck happened. Then I just got sick out of nowhere. And like, then I was about to die. And so I've been dealing with the Crohn's disease for the past 13 years of my 32-year-old life. So if that makes any sense to anybody, how great I feel right now. So yeah. Right now I'm a retired artist, so I have nothing to do but smoke weed and do this shit. So like, really, that's what I'm gonna be doing every day.
Hell yeah.
And now, this is like so perfect. Like, when I wrote y'all, I didn't know y'all was gonna respond right back like that. And it's just like, I don't know anybody here. So this is the perfect way to just meet other artists. It's just like what's supposed to be happening right now is happening. Me getting high and being happy and being an artist. That's what I came here to do.
And that's what we love. That's why we do this.
That's what I came here to do.
Artists are a lot of fun, and like we love hearing where their process comes from, and everybody's got such a different story, you know. Like,
and look, it's like Bob Ross is sitting there looking at me like, bitch, I told you. I told you. Look at the way he's looking at the shirt like, I told you it's gonna be happy trees and happy birds.
All right, man. So this last one is called Meathead. It's a diamond caviar.
Meathead is a hard-hitting indica dominant hybrid known for its pungent smell of diesel and pepper and its intense body high. We picked up a gram of these saucy diamonds at a shop on 172nd Avenue in Marysville.
All right. So for our very last one, good job keeping up on this one. You have a very diverse palette with some pieces using very bright, almost neon colors, while others towards darker silhouettes. Does the subject matter of a piece influence your palette choices?
Well, when I first really knew I could draw artists, I knew that I can really do it. Is I used to watch like Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon and shit like that, and I used to do sketches. And then I finally...
That's what I used to draw too.
Had an art for everybody in our generation, born in the 80s, late 80s, 90s, that is our shit. I still watch Dragon Ball Z to this day. I've been waiting for that shit to come. Me and my homie, both of us be sitting there every Saturday waiting for the new shit to pop up on YouTube. Like, we geeks. All my nephews, like 3 generations down in my family, all of us just sit in the fucking room together and watch that shit.
That's awesome.
But anyway, so when I first time I took an art class and I actually was able to use different kinds of pencils, I started learning about the graphite and charcoal and different kinds of, so then charcoal is like very dark, and I was learning grayscale. So you learn those from contrast from dark to light. And so I started learning how, like, my favorite thing was to smudge, because I felt like if I'm drawing a person and I'm drawing a shoulder and it's smooth, and then the light shines on you, see that light. But when you use charcoal, it literally looks like a real skin because it's so dark, and then it smudges like a perfect gray to white scale just using your thumb. instead of you having to literally shade it out. You see what I'm saying? So long as you put pressure and smudge it out. And I was able to do like realistic stuff. When I was a little kid, I could do like ribbons. I started out doing a little S, and then you do another S over it, and then you just shade in really dark on each corner, and it looks like a real ribbon because it's smudged so dark to where it looks like light is shining on it.
Okay.
And so when I do portraits, I'm so good at doing that dark scale. When I paint, I was doing my portraits like that, black and white with a gray scale. And so then I was like, look, I got to start using color. And I always was smart enough to know the color wheel and contrast colors and tertiary colors and blah, blah, blah. But I never went to college to study paint, so I never took color theory. So then I just like intuitively know what different colors mean, like the color green, the Grinch, envy, money, abundance, fertility, youth, envy, whatever. Then you learn about different things in life, like spirituality. So then green is also the heart chakra, so it represents that, or it represents fucking, like the more and more in depth you think of things, the more and more things you can correlate something that is a basic. Everything stems from one point. So it's like your brain thinks of one thing and it's gonna trigger everything that you ever thought about related to the color green. But if your mind is still stuck here, when you hear the color green, you're only gonna think about money. Because that's all you think about.
So like when you were mentioning earlier about how you would write down like everything you were feeling as you were planning a piece out and everything like that. So like if you're feeling envious at the time of something, you tend more towards the green scale of things, and like does that how you're actually feeling affect the color that you end up going with?
I think that I think since I was little, I think I always visually knew how to put colors together. Like I know people are basic word instead people will say match. Like that doesn't match or that doesn't go together. But literally when you're an artistic person, you see a gradient of colors together. You don't just see like, okay, green and brown don't go together. It's like you see like 5 or 6 colors there. You don't just, you see like light tones you see 3 tones of one color, 3 tones of another color, and 3 tones of another color. But other people, they only see red, yellow, and orange. You see what I'm saying? And so when I was little, I could already know like, okay, my mama wanted to decorate this room. I can go in the store and I can just be like, okay, that is gonna go together, because I can already visualize a yellow pot here, a navy blue pot here, a brown I can already see a color palette in my head.
Okay.
And so like if I went to the store, I can pick out these items even though they're not sitting together, I can see it in my head. So I'll be like, that and that and that and that and that will match.
So,
if I put it all in a room, I can decorate it, I can see it.
So it's more intentional then, instead of just kind of playing on how you're feeling about it.
So it's like if someone wants a portrait because their grandma passed away and their grandma's favorite flower was a lily. So then I would get their grandma, maybe their grandma's favorite colors. I would look up a lily. I would like the meanings of a lily and what their grandma meant to them, or like something like that. And I would look at what the picture looks like, whatever time it in, you know, the context of the picture. If it looks more like 80s style, I'll probably put like some curvy flashes to make it look a little 80s, or maybe do like spray paint some gold or bronze on it to make it look a little antique. Or if it's a wedding, I would make it look very clean and sleek and black and white. I wouldn't put a bunch of like colors on it. I would make it look more like a photo finish. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's like it depends on everything action you should make in life should be intentional. You should never just be doing anything.
Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Dabbing with Washington Artists.
Make sure to share with your friends and click like and follow below for more great content. Also, check the links below for the more information about the artists and some of their current projects.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it. Do it now.